So I'm going to make a confession. Every morning, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know that this is the truth, but every morning I wake up and the very first thing I do is I pick up my cell phone and I turn on Twitter. And yes, I know it's awful, but I do it anyway. And I'm like, what chaos has ensued overnight? Well, I've been asleep and I spend like probably at least an hour, more time than I should, looking over Twitter, trying to figure out what's gone on overnight, seeing what people are talking about, sending out a whole bunch of tweets on just like whatever my thoughts are, because Twitter is essentially like my notebook. At this point, it's like if like I'm whenever I tweet something, I'm usually making a note or reminding myself. It's why I retweet other people so much, because I want to be able to actually go back and look at it later. Anyway, so this morning I woke up and I picked up my phone, and the very first thing that I saw was this tweet from Ian Miles Chung. "You are an unlikable asshole who says the quiet part out loud, and I respect you for it." And I have to admit, I was not expecting to be called an unlikable asshole by one of the influencers that I do follow on Twitter. I really wasn't. I was a little bit taken aback. I was like, what? But I thought about it. I was like, this is actually the very best compliment that has ever happened ever. What a glorious compliment to give someone. And then I was like, okay, this is actually starting my day off well. And so I retweeted it with some additional thoughts about why I actually love it when people hate me. And I want to read this series of tweets because I really think that this is a philosophy that can help so many more people. It can help, I promise you, if you invite people to hate you, I promise you, it will actually help you live a better life. And this is a philosophy that I didn't develop when I started doing YouTube. That wasn't it. I actually developed this philosophy when I started doing coaching professionally, because as a professional coach, one of your primary jobs is to attract the right kind of client. The right kind of client that is going to respond to you as a coach, and that is going to be someone that you like working with as well. Because if you're trying to cast too wide a net for that type of work, you're going to end up attracting clients where you guys are just going like this. Like they may be a perfect coaching client for someone, but they are not a perfect coaching client for you. And I learned very early on in my coaching practice that fit was very important. So I got very, very picky about my coaching clients. And in order to do that, I just started, being very overt about my opinions, because my perspective on that was I want people to either love me, be a hell yes, or hate me and be a hell no. And if they were sitting in the middle, if they were a milquetoast fence sitter, that was not what I wanted. And that's not to say it's great for some. Listen, let's just be blunt. Some people are very, very, very successful and very powerful and very influential being a milquetoast fence sitter. It can do a lot. So I'm not exercising judgment on whether that's the right or wrong choice. I'm just saying that for me, it was not the correct choice. I wanted people to love me or hate me. So I'm going to read this thread that I wrote in response to this tweet, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, because I think that so many people go out of their way to cast the widest possible net that they end up creating an untenable situation for themselves in the process. And sometimes it can be a little scary to go narrow with your net, but ultimately, I really do think that, at least for me, it's one of the best choices I've ever made. Okay, let me read this thread and then we're going to talk about it. So I retweeted Ian and I said, "I'm printing this out and hanging it on my wall because that's a badass compliment. I feel like it's taken a lifetime of work on my confidence and self-esteem to become comfortable enough saying what I want to say without worrying if people like it or not. I made it." And that's very true, by the way. All my life, people have said, "Carlin, you don't care what other people think." Well, that's not true. That is not true at all. I cared very much what people thought up until about maybe 5 years ago. And I would always act like I didn't, but I really did. And I would internalize everything. And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable when I was constantly worried about what other people would think of me. Because, listen, let's just be honest. Like, I have a strong personality. I do. And some people are really intimidated by my personality, and I would get into all these situations where, someone would be intimidated by me, and it would create an absolutely toxic relationship with that person. And from my perspective, I just felt like there was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing I could do to bring these people around, no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I go out of my way, no matter how nice I am, no matter how many favors I do, no matter anything, it just wouldn't work. And we would always end up going like this. And it wasn't until like 5 or 6 years ago when I really started learning how to develop internal security and to really give myself the validation that I was always looking for in other people. And once that happened, guess what? My relationships got better. My friendships got better. I'm pretty sure my relationship with my husband got better. My client list grew. Everything grew from gaining more internal security. I didn't change as a person. My values didn't change. My approach didn't change. The way I communicate with the world didn't change. But my perception of myself did. And I was no longer putting it on the public or on the clients or my coworkers or my friends or anything else to tell me how I feel about myself. I was doing that for myself. And that made all the difference. Let's keep going. Seriously though, if you're saying anything we're saying, you're going to piss people off. I love it when I piss people off, even when I don't intend to. It's like, you're gonna get mad over a tweet? A single tweet? Jesus, it must have some truth in it. The times I know I'm really onto something is when I'm pissing people off so much that they start unfollowing me, especially if they announce their departure in dramatic fashion. Why else would they be so annoyed over tweets? Only truth does that. Lies don't. You should always want people to be a hell yes or a hell no about you. The worst is when they're in the middle and they're just ambivalent. Our expression is our self-worth. When you're expressing who you are, people will hate you. Let them hate you. At least you're alive. What do I mean by that last thing? So, how we express ourselves, how we are able to fully say what we think regardless of the outcome, that is a reflection about how we feel about ourselves on the inside. It is a reflection of if we believe our ideas have inherent worth and inherent value regardless of if people agree with them or not. It is a reflection of our confidence. It's a reflection of our own internal security that we are able to give these ideas as gifts to the world. And you have to view it as that. Your ideas, and I don't care what ideas, I don't care if I agree with your ideas or I don't agree with your ideas, you have to perceive that your ideas have value. This is why I have been hammering on, people on the right, especially for the last year or so, to speak up about your ideas. It's why I've always been so frustrated at the whole mask thing, because you're covering the thing you used to express yourself. And now we know, because there's research coming out that are showing depression rates, anxiety rates are going up because of the flipping mask, because people are not expressing themselves. When you cover the thing you used to express yourself, of course you're going to express yourself less. And the less you express yourself, the more that you hold in your thoughts, the less self-worth and value you're going to have. Because we are creatures that expression is a gift that we've been given purely by being born. The more you express yourself, the more alive you're going to feel. This is why when so many people red pill, and I know, if you red pilled, leave a comment below and tell me if I'm correct about this, but so many people that red pill, when they finally come out to the world as having red pilled, they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. I feel like I have life again. You feel amazing. Look, I just turned 40 years old a couple weeks ago. I feel better now than when I turned 30. I was miserable when I turned 30 because I wasn't expressing myself. I didn't have this self-worth. And I was just now I'm like, oh my God, I feel 15 years younger than I actually am. And I really think it's because I've learned to just say what I think and consequences be damned. You should invite people to hate you for that express reason every single time. Every single time you have someone that hates you, almost for an unconceivable, irrational reason, whether it's in Twitter or real life. If you have someone that hates you, that means that you are saying something that is worth saying. It means that you have said something true that has impacted them in some way. It might even have impacted them in ways that they can't even explain. But if you are able to evoke a strong emotion in someone, whether that's love or whether that's hate, then you have done your job. And I'm going to tell you this, what other people think about you is none of your damn business. It's none of your business. You know, someone the other day was sending me tweets of like Cassandra Fairbanks running her mouth about me again, and I have no idea why Cassandra Fairbanks is so obsessed with me, because I've never even spoken to the woman, and like I don't even think about her unless someone is literally sending me tweets where she's talking smack about me. I have no idea why she's still doing this, since I don't ever even talk about her unless she's doing it to me, right? It's like, because what she thinks of me, or what any of the groypers think of me, or any of these other groups that don't like me, it's none of my business, man. It's none of my business. And I could choose to sit here and be miserable and be like, oh, Cassandra Fairbanks doesn't like me. But like, what do I care? Like, I have bigger fish to fry than that. And you know what? Like, I hope that, like, and I said this, you know, I've talked about this, you know, a couple times on this channel, I think. Like, I genuinely hope that she's happy. I really do, because most of the time what I find when people are talking shit about other people online, like incessantly, is that they're kind of hurt inside. Like, they're broken. It doesn't make me feel good to like look at them. And that's true of almost everyone I've had conflicts with in this space. It like, I look at them and it like, my body feels queasy. I'm like, something's going on. And I don't know what it is, but it's a sad thing. It's not something to be celebrated. It's like a sad thing. I don't want people to feel bad, right? But oftentimes I think that the people who are talking smack about other people online and spending their days doing that, they can't feel good about themselves. You want to know why? Because just like SJWs, they're not contributing something of value to the world. Maybe it's because they don't feel like they can contribute something of value, so they're focusing on the smack talk or like whatever. But like, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. Anyway, that's a little off topic, but, you know, I guess I'll wrap this up by saying that if you have experiences of people hating you and it makes you feel bad about yourself, or it makes you feel like you shouldn't express what you think, you need to change the definition of this. You need to change the meaning that you're assigning to this. Instead of thinking it is a horrible thing if people hate me, instead of thinking that, you have to think it is awesome when people hate me. When people hate me, that means I'm expressing myself. It means my opinions are ringing some sort of chord. It means that I'm speaking truth, and it means I have the internal value and self-worth to say what I think regardless of the consequences. And what they think of me is none of my business. My only job is to feel good about what I am expressing myself. That is it. That is the only job that I have. And beyond that, I wash my hands of it. It is not my responsibility. It is not my business. It is not even something that I care about. So I love it. I invite it. I would rather that people hate me every single day of the week than people be ambivalent about me. 110%. And I think that if more people if you view the world like that, you're going to be a lot happier. I promise you. You're going to be a lot happier. Listen, one of the things I'm going to be doing moving forward is I'm really going to be focusing in on how do I help people speak up? How do I help people fight back against the woke? How do I help people find their own voice? Man, I'm a coach. This is what I do. This is what I am goddamn built for. And I think that this is the way that I can best contribute to actually solving problems. Rather than just complaining about the problems, I want to help contribute to solving the problems. So in order to do that, we all need to get comfortable with the idea that when we push back, when we fight, there are going to be people who hate you, and that's okay. If there are people that hate you, that means that you're doing something right. All right, guys. That's all I have in this video. I gotta go get ready to go watch Biden's speech. Are you all ready for it? That's all I've got for right now. We'll see you soon.